Morning. A little too low now. Morning. Welcome to the stream. Hola, mi amigos. Guten Tag. that's not gonna work. Need a new one. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm just starting off. I have one batch in the pot right now. Let's get my boards wet. Hello. I was just getting a cup of tea. Oh, I've been scoping quite a bit lately. I quit this job for a while, and I came back in the end of June. So I've probably been scoping since then. Scoping. Oh, I'm glad to see you again. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna take my first batch out of the pot and put it on the table. I'm gonna dress them in sesame seeds. Sesame bagels. Just having a quiet morning. It's nice to just reflect. This is how we cook bagels here. I mean, there's different ways of baking a bagel. This is just one way. This is the Montreal style. We boil them in honey water, and then we put them on mahogany boards, or whatever boards you have, really, I guess. I don't know. Don't necessarily have to be mahogany. Something won't burn up. So there we go. We got one batch in the oven and one in the pot. This is a very labor-intensive way of baking bagels. I'm sure you could just use a big machine and make millions of bagels with a giant machine. It'd be a lot easier. Ooh. Ooh, excuse me. Probably not. I never buy bagels in the store. I mean, obviously, I have an endless supply here that is free, so I don't have a need to. But I wouldn't buy store-bought bagels. They're just pretty much bread. You might as well buy bread if you're gonna buy bagels in the store. Our bagels, if they're baked properly, should have a nice thick crust and a nice chewy, dense crumb, depending on whether or not they're baked properly. They do take some skill to bake. It does take some skill to bake these bagels this way. So. Montreal style tend to be, they're a little bit smaller. They have, so yeah, the bagels we bake are, they're a little bit smaller than New York style bagels. They have a harder crust and they have a denser crumb. Whereas New York style bagels tend to be a little bit bigger. They should be a little bit softer, not as dense. And the crust shouldn't be as hard as a Montreal style bagel. But to be honest, I've never been to New York, so I've never actually tried an authentic New York style bagel. So I actually wouldn't be a good judge. That's one of my vacation plans is to go to New York and visit some New York style bagels and actually experience the difference, because I haven't really experienced the difference. So. But generally the difference should be Montreal style bagels are a little bit smaller. They're dense. The crumb is denser and the crust is a little bit harder and crisp, crunchier, I guess. I want to go on a grand bagel tour, and Montreal and New York are the two destinations that I want to obviously go to. Yeah, we have lox and capers. We have lox. Yeah, we still have lox. Lox with red onions and capers. We have really good. We have West Coast salmon here, so our salmon supply is pretty good. The lox and cream cheese is my favorite. One of my favorites. I don't think there's a place in Vancouver that does New York style bagels. There's a place called Sully's. I think they might do a New York style bagel at Sully's. But we just have Montreal style bagels here in Vancouver. There's Seagulls. They started the bagel thing here in Vancouver. Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, the word bagels, like the word bagel is I think it has a Hebrew root. I don't know. I think the word, but I mean, dough shaped into a circle is probably something that was invented before the Jews were ever doing anything. There's older civilizations than the Jews, so I mean we could. I'm sure maybe the Mesopotamians made bagel like baked goods. Who knows? The Sumerians, maybe they invented bagels. There's older civilizations than the Jews, that's for sure. I know the Turks, they make a similar product, similar thing to bagels. They make simit, which is round, circular dough, but it's sweetened with molasses, so it's sort of a dark color. And that one's not great. Ooh, these are everything bagels. They smell yummy. Smell the garlic and the caraway and cinnamon. My first thought was he lied in every word. But very yeah, our bagels can get sort of messy here too. I tend to favor the sandwiches that are less messy, so I like having the lox and cream cheese is not messy at all because it's open face. Yeah, we make a jalapeno melt. So it's I think it has cheddar cheese, jalapeno, it has Montreal smoked meat, cheddar, jalapenos, and then it's on a bagel. So I think that's I think we call it a Kitslano. Yeah, I work every Saturday. I get weekdays off. I get Wednesday and Thursday off, which suits me fine. So it's a lot easier to get things done on a weekday than it is on a weekend. It's a gas fire oven. So there's the gas is right. The gas is coming out of the whatever you call it, the pipe. Excuse me. Well, traditionally, Montreal-style bagels are baked in a wood fire oven. No, it's not coal fire. It is natural gas. Yeah, we're open every day. We're even open on Christmas Day, which is insane, but I don't know. That's how it is here. We're open 365 days of the year. I think we're open from 7 to 7, Monday to Sunday. Monday to Sunday. 7 to 7. Or 7 to 8, I think it is, actually. Can't see. Seven to 7:30. But I'm here from 4 until, yeah, we're open for 12 hours. But I'm here from 4 until 2, or 4 until 12. My first thought was he lied in every word, that hoary cripple with malicious eye, askance to watch the working of his lie on mine, and mouth scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that pursed and scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be set for with his staff? What saved the waylay with his lies and snare all travelers who might find him posted there? And asked the road, I guessed what skull-like laugh would break, what crutch can write my epitaph for pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside and too often his track which all agree hides the dark power, yet acquiescingly I did turn as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end described, so which is gladness of end might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn out through years, my hope dwindled into a ghost not fit to cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring. I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring my heart made, finding failure in its scope. As a sick man very near to death seems dead indeed, and feels begin and end the tears, and takes the farewell of each friend, and hears one bid the other go, draw breath, freely outside, since all is over, he saith, and the blow fallen no grieving can amend. While some discusseth the other graves, room enough for this, and when a day suits best for carrying the corpse away, with care about banners, scarfs, and staves, and still the man hears all and only craves, he may not shame such tender love and stay. Thus I had for so long suffered in this quest, heard failure prophesied so oft being writ, so many times among the band to wit, the knights in two dark towers search and dress their steps, that just to fail as they seem best, and all doubt was now should I be fit. So quiet as despair I turned from him, that hateful cripple, out of his highway into the path he pointed, all the day being a dreary one at best, and dim was settling into its close, yet shot one grim red leer to see the plain catch its astray. For mark, no sooner was I fairly found, pledged to the plain after a pace or two, then pausing to back at a last view, over the safe road 'twas gone, grey plain all round, nothing but plain to the horizon's bound. I must go on, naught else remained to do. So on I went. I think I never saw such starved ignoble nature. Nothing throve, for flowers as well expect to see to grow, but chortle and spurge according to their law, might propagate their kind with none to awe. You take a bird had been a treasure trove. No penry inertness in grimace, in some strange sort were the land's portion. See or close your eyes, said nature peevishly, it nothing skills, I can't help my case. 'Tis last judgment's fire must cure this place, calcine its clods and set my prisoners free. If there pushed any ragged thistle stalk above its mates, its head was chopped. The bents were jealous else. What made the holes and rents in the dock's harsh forest leaves? Bruised as to balk all hope of greenness. 'Tis a brute must walk, pashing their life out with the brute's intents. As for the grass, it grew as scarce as hair in leprosy. Thin dry blades pricked the mud, which underneath was kneaded up with blood. One stiff blind horse, as every foe to stare, stood stupefied however he came there, thrust out past service in the devil's stud. Alive, he might be dead for aught I know, with red gaunt and callop neck astrain, and shut eyes beneath the rusty mane. Seldom went such grotesqueness with such woe. I never saw a brute I hated so. He must have been wicked to deserve such pain. I shut my eyes and turned them on my heart. As a man calls for wine before he fights, I ask one draught of earlier, happier sights. Ere fitly I could hope to play the part. Think first, fight afterwards, the soldier's art. One taste of old time sets all to rights. Not it. I fancied Cuthbert's reddening face beneath its garniture of curly gold. Dear fellow, till I almost felt him fold. An arm in mine fixed me to that place. That way he used, alas, one night's disgrace. Out at my heart's new fire and left it cold. Giles then, the soul of honor, there he stands, frank as 10 years ago when knighted first. An honest man should dare, he said he durst. Good, but the scene shifts. Fall what hangman's hand pinned to his breast a parchment. His own band reads it, poor traitors spit upon and cursed. Better this present than a past like that. Back therefore to my darkening path. No sound, no sight as far as the eye can strain. Will the night send a howl at our bat, I asked, when something on the dismal flat came to arrest my thoughts and change their train. A sudden little river crossed my path, as unexpected as a serpent came. No tides congenial to the glooms. This as it frothed by might have been a bath for the fiend's glowing hoof, to see the wrath of its black ladies whose baffled plates and spoons. So petty yet so spiteful, all along low scrubby alders kneeled over it. Drenched willows flung them headlong in a fit of doubt despair. A suicidal throng, the river which had done me all the wrong, whatever that was, rolled by to turn no whit. Which while I heard it, good saints, how I feared to set my foot upon a dead man's cheek. Step to feel his spear, I thrust to seek the hollows tangled in his hair and beard. It may have been a water rat I speared, but how it sounded like a baby's shriek. Glad was I to reach other bank, now for a better country, vain presage. Who are the strugglers? What wars they wage? Whose savage trample could thus pad the dank soil to a plash? Toads in a poison tank, or wild cats in a red-hot cage. The fight must so have seemed in that howitzer. What penned them there with all the plain to choose? No footsteps leading to that horrid muse. None out of it. Mad brewage set to work their brains, no doubt, like galley slaves the Turk pits for his pastime Christians against Jews. And more than that, a furlong on, why there, what bad use was that engine for, that wheel, or brake not wheel, that harrow fit to reel men's bodies out like silk, with all the air of prophet's tool, on earth left unaware, or brought to sharpen its rusty teeth of steel. Then came some stub ground, once it would, next to marsh it would seem, now mere earth, dust spreading, done with so the fool finds word, makes a thing and mars it till his mood changes, and off he goes, within a rude log clay and marsh and sand and stark black dirt. Now patches gay and grim, now blotches where gay and grim, now patches. I lost my place. Now blotches colored gay and grim, now patches where sameness of the soils broken to moss or substances like boils. Then came the palsied oak, a cleft in him, a distorted mouth that splits its rim, gaping at death and dies while it recoils. As far as ever from the end, not in the distance but the evening knot, to point my footsteps further at the thought, great black bird, Apollyon's bosom friend, sailed past Nerita's wide wings, dragon pen, that brushed my cap, perchance the god I saw. For looking up aware I somehow grew, the plain had given place all round to mountains with such names to grace mere heights and deeps now stolen in view. How thus they surprised me solving you, how to get from there was no clear case. Yet half I seemed to recognize some trick of mischief had happened to me, God knows when, in a bad dream perhaps. Here ended then progress this way, when in the very nick of giving up one more time came a click, as when the trap shuts you're in the den. Burningly it came upon me all at once. This was the place. Those two hills to the right crouched like two bulls locked horn in fight, while to the left a tall scout mountain, dunce daughter to dozing at the very nunce, after a lifetime of training for the sight. Not see what in the midst lay but the tower itself, the round squat turret, blind as a fool, built of brown stone without a counterpart in the whole world. The tempest mocking elf points the ship, and thus the unseen shelf he strikes on only when timbers start. Best? What is best? What? Not see, because of night perhaps, why day came back to that. Behind it left the dying sunset, kindled through a cleft, the hills like two giants in the hunting lay, chin upon hand to see the game at bay, now stab and end the creature to the heft. Not here, when noise was everywhere told, increasing like a bell, names in my ears, of lost adventurers my peers, how such was strong, and such was bold, and such was fortunate, yet each of old, lost one moment now the woe of years. There they stood, ranged along the hillside, met to view the last of me, a living frame, for one more picture in a sheet of flame. I saw them and knew them all, and yet, dauntless, a slughorn to my lips I set, and blew, child Roland to a dark tower came. What is the difference between a priest and an acne? Acne waits until he, oh my god. I gotta remember not to read out the comments when they're being posted. Oh my god. Go ahead. Oh. That's a bad joke. Feminists have changed a lot, dude. You stopped the hearts when I said that. Oh my god. That's so bad, dude. I don't get that joke. I think it's just trying to be tastelessly provocative. I'm baking bagels. Oh, no more tasteless jokes. I was actually sort of enjoying the tasteless jokes. So. They're pretty bad though. Oh my god. What is doing this? Hamlin towns in Brunswick by famous Hanover name. The river western deep and wide washes its wall on the southern side. A pleasanter spot you never spied. But when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so from vermin was a pity. Rats, they fought the dogs and killed the cats, and bit the babies from the cradles, and ate the cheeses from the backs, and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted scraps. They nested the men's Sunday hats. They'd even spoiled the women's chats by drowning out their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. At last, the people in a body to the town hall came flocking. "'Tis clear," cried they, "our mayor is a naughty, and as for our corporation, shocking. To think we buy gowns lined with ermine, for dolts who can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. You hope because you're old and obese to find in the furry civic robes ease. Rouse up, sirs, give your brains a racking, to find the remedy we are lacking, or sure as fate will send you packing." At this, the mayor and corporation quaked with a mighty consternation. An hour they sat in council. At length the mayor broke silence. "For a guilder, eyes my urban gown sell. I wish I were a mile hence. It's easy to bid one, rack one's brain. I'm sure my forehead aches again. I scratch it so, but all in vain. Oh, for a trap, a trap, a trap." Just as he said this, what did happen? At the chamber door, but a gentle tap. "Bless us," cried the mayor, "what's that?" With the corporation as he sat, looking little to under his back, nor brighter were his eyes, nor moister, than a too long open oyster, save when at noon his paunch of muteness, or a plate of turtle green in weakness. Only a scraping of shoes on a mat, anything like the sound of a rabbit makes my heart go pit-a-pat. "Come in," cried the mayor, looking bigger, and in did come the sweetest figure. His long clear coat from heel to head was half yellow and half red, and he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes, each like a pin, and light loose hair and swarthy skin, nor tuft of hair on cheek, nor beard on chin, but lips where a smile went out and in. There was no guessing his kith or kin, and nobody could enough admire this tall man in his quaint attire. Quoth one, "It's as my great-grandsire, starting up at the trump of doom's tone, had walked this way from his painted tombstone." He advanced towards the council table, and "Please, your honor," said he, "I am able, by means of secret charm, to draw all the creatures living beneath the sun, that crawl or swim or fly or run, after me so as you never saw. And I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm, the mole and toad and newt and piper, and people call me the Pied Piper." And here they notice round his neck a scarf of red and yellow stripe, to match with his coat of self-same check. And that scarf's end was a pipe, and his fingers, they noticed, were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his vesture sole spangled. "Yes," said he, "Pied Piper as I am, in Tartary I bred the cam. Last June from his huge swarms of gnats, I eased in Asia the Nizam of a monstrous brood of vampire rats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I rid your town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders?" 50,000 was the exclamation of astonished mayor and corporation. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic sucked in his quiet pipe the while. Like a musical adept to blow his pipe, his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. And ere 3 shrill notes the pipe uttered, he heard as if an army muttered, and muttering grew to a grumbling, and the grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the house of kings and rats tumbling, great rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, brave old plotters, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails and pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the Pied Piper for their lives. From street to street he piped advancing, and step to step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Wester, wherein all plunged and perished, save one whose stout as Julius Caesar swam across and lived to carry, as he the manuscript he cherished, to Ratland Homan's commentary, which was, apt for shrill notes of the pipe, I heard a sound as of scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous ripe into the cider presses bright, and moving away pickle cupboards, and leaving a jar of concert cupboards, and drawing the corks of train oil flasks, and breaking hoops of butter casks. It seemed as if a voice sweeter far than by harp or by Solary's breed called out, "O rats, rejoice! The world has grown to a vast dry saltery. So munch on, crunch on, take your nunch on, breakfast, supper, dinner, lunch on, and just a bulky sugar punch on, already staved like a great sun shone. Gracious, scarce an inch before me, just as me thought it said come for me. I found the Wester rolling over me, You should have heard the Hamlin people ring the bells and they rock the steeple. Go, cried the mayor, get long poles, poke out the nests and block up the holes, consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of the rats, when suddenly up the face of the piper perked in the marketplace, with the first, if you please, my 1,000 guilders. 1,000 guilders. The mayor looked blue, so did the corporation too, for council dinners made rare havoc with claret, moselle, vin de gras, hawk, and half the money would replenish their cellars big as butt of Rhenish, to pay this sum to a wondering fellow, with gypsy coat of red and yellow. Besides, quoth the mayor with a knowing wink, our business was done at the river's brink. We saw with our eyes vermin sink, and what's dead can't come to life, I think. So, friend, we're not folks to shrink from our duty of giving you something to drink, and a matter of money to put in your poke. But as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you well know, wasn't joke. Besides, our losses have made us thrifty. 1,000 guilders, come take 50. The piper's face fell and he cried, no trifling, I can't wait beside. I promise visit by dinner time Baghdad, and accept the prime of the head cook's potage, all he's rich in, for having left in the caliph's kitchen of a nest of scorpions no survivor. With him I prove no bargain driver, with you don't think I'll bait a stiver, and folks who put me in a passion may find me pipe after another fashion. How, cried the mayor, do you think I brook, being worse treated than a cook, insulted by a ribald, with idle pipe and vesture piebald? Threaten us, fellow, do your worst, blow your pipe there till you burst. Once more he stepped into the street, and to his lips again laid his long pipe with smooth straight cane. And there he blew such sweet notes, such sweet soft notes as that musician's cunning never gave the enraptured air. There was a rustling that seemed like a bustling, the very clouds adjusting and pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, and little tongues chattering. And like foals in a farmyard, barley is scattering. Out came the children running, all the little boys and girls, with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls, and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping on merrily after. The wonderful music was shouting and laughter. The mayor was dumb, and the council stood as if they're changed in blocks of wood, unable to move a step or cry, to the children merrily skipping by, could only follow with an eye the joyous crowd of the piper's back, and how the mayor was on the rack, and the wretched council's bosoms beat as the pipe returned from the high street, to where the west had rolled its waters, right in the way of their sons and daughters. How it returned from south to west, and to Koppenberg Hill his steps addressed, and after him the children pressed. Great was the joy in every breast. He never crossed the mighty top, he's forced to let the piping drop, and we shall see our children stop. When lo, they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if a cavern was suddenly hollowed. The piper advanced and the children followed, and when all were in to the very last, the door in the mountainside shut fast. Did I say all? No one was lame, and could not dance the whole of the way. And in after years, if you'd blame the sadness, he was used to say, "It's dull in our town since my playmates left. I can't forget that I'm bereft of the pleasant sights they see, which the piper also promised me. For he led us, he said, to a joyous land, joining the town in just at hand, where waters gushed and fruit trees grew, and flowers were forth a fairer hue, and everything was strange and new. The sparrow was brighter than a peacock here, and her dogs outran our fellow deer, and honeybees had lost their stings, and horses were born with eagle's wings. And just as I became assured, my lame foot was speedily cured. The music stopped, and I stood still. I found myself outside the hill, left behind against my will, to go now dancing as before, and never hear that country more. Alas, alas for Hamelin, there came to many a burgher's pate, a text which says at heaven's gate, hopes the rich at as easy rate, as a needle's eye takes a camel in. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south, to offer the piper by word of mouth, wherever was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if only he'd return the way he went, and bring the children behind him. But when they saw 'twas lost endeavor, and piper and dancers were gone forever, they made a decree that lawyers never should take their records dated duly, if after the day of the month and year, these words do not as well appear. And so long after what happened here, on the 22nd of July, 1376, in the better memory to fix the place of the children's last retreat, they called it the Piper Street, where anyone playing pipe or tabor was sure for his future lose his labor, nor suffered they hostel or tavern, shocked with mirth the street so solemn, and opposite the place of the cavern, they wrote the story on a column, and on great church window painted, the same to make the world acquainted, how their children were stolen away, and there it stands this very day. And I must not admit to say, in Transylvania there's a tribe of alien people who ascribe the way and dress of which their neighbors laid such stress, to their fathers and mothers having risen out of some subterranean prison, into which they were Japan, a long time ago in a mighty band, out of Hamlin towns in Brunswick land, but how or why they don't understand. So, Lily, let me and you be wipers of scores out with all men, especially pipers. And if they should pipe us free from rats or from mice, if we promise them aught, let us keep our promise. Say hi, Unido. Hello. I don't know what that means. Say hi, Unido. Yeah, making bagels. See, wee, wah, wah, wee, wah. Sip of tea. One day God said, this is what I'll do. I'll send down my son, I'll send him down to you to clear up this humpity-bumpity hullabaloo. His name will be Christ, and he'll never wear shoes, and his friends will all call him the King of the Jews. He didn't come in a plane, he didn't come in a Jeep, he didn't come on the back like in the pouch of a high jumping movie. He rode on the back of the black SS2, the blackiest creature you ever could view. He rode into Jerusalem, home of the grumpy Jews, where false prophets were worshipped, some even in twos. There was Murray, Von Murr, and Genghis Vauvouz, the one you could worship taking a snooze. Christ spoke from a mound to a pile of ground, and people gathered around without making a sound. Thus he spake, sin in socks, socks full of sin. How shall we quiet this Jehovah din? Do unto others as others do unto you. That includes you, Timothy Foo. And one Pharisee said to another he knew, what shall we do about this uppity Jew? Wash him in wine and make him all clean, and into Sam Vittle's crucifixion machine. Twirl the girdle and release the gavlees, and go the nails as fast as you please. And instead he said as he bled, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, because they walk through this world wearing two crappity shoes. Amen. Well, thanks for watching. I'm going to turn off the broadcast today, right now. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Got itchy nose. I'm going to end the broadcast right now, and thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow morning, and I hope you have an excellent morning. Thank you. Thank you for watching.